Hey, what's up YouTube? It's me, Sarah, and in today's video I am going to be talking about the book The Mastery of Love by Don Miquel Ruiz, which is this one here. I have been wanting to read this book for quite a bit. I really wanted to talk about some of the concepts in this book and how they really resonated with me, especially when you are approaching a new love. Maybe you're reflecting on a past love, but I think that this is such a great book if you are really trying to become a better lover and also just have like a healthier perspective when it comes to loving another person. I think that this book is really great. I highly recommend it. So the first tip is on page 10, and it says, "To become masters of love, we have to practice love." It's such a simple line, but it really makes you think. If you don't practice loving another person, if you don't practice loving yourself and showing love in different ways, it is going to be difficult to become a master of love, to love people, right? You can't just expect to enter a new relationship and know exactly how to love if you've never really practiced it. It's kind of like practice makes perfect, and it really made me think about how it's important to practice getting out of our comfort zones and opening up our minds and learning how to love another person outside of ourselves. The next tip is on page 43, and I absolutely loved this story in this book. If you have this book, let me know what you think about this story. But it talks about the man who didn't believe in love. And at the end of the chapter, the main takeaway of that story is that we cannot base our happiness on another person, right? Just because we love another person, just because we're so happy in a relationship and we're just filled with so much love and happiness, we cannot put our happiness on another person for them to bear that responsibility. It was so mind-blowing to me to think about how sometimes we feel this immense love and joy being with another person, but sometimes we can also put that weight or that responsibility on that person to keep giving us that happiness, right? And it's a weird thing. It takes away from the simple fact of enjoying the relationship. It takes away from just being in love and loving that person without any expectations, without them having to bear the weight of holding your happiness in their heart, right? And I think it's so important to just love and be in love, enjoy being in love, but don't put that on anybody else. Like, just because they make you happy, don't expect them to always be the one to make you happy or to bear that responsibility of making you happy all the time. A relationship really is just about loving and respecting one another and just being in love and accepting them without putting any kind of expectations on them. The next takeaway is on page 60, and this ties into what I just talked about, but love really is based on respect. You don't hold expectations on another person. You don't put that on anybody else, because you respect the person and you understand that they fulfill their 50% of the relationship, you fulfill yours, and there shouldn't be anything more to that. Respect also ties into knowing that a person can make their own choices, right? When you love somebody, you fully accept them and you respect the choices that they make in their life because it is their life. And that was something I've had to learn as well, when it comes to knowing how to take a step back. Although you may not fully understand why the people you love make the decisions that they make, but it's respect for them as a person and saying, hey, I know you can make it. I know you can make decisions for yourself. I don't need to step in and try to sway you or change your mind when your mind has already been made up. So because I have respect for you as a person and I love you, I leave that to you 100%. And I thought that was really interesting and important to keep in mind when it comes to any relationship, not even a romantic relationship, but just with friendships or your family. It's just respect them as a person and let them steer their own life. The next takeaway is on page 95. It talks about the magical kitchen, right? That's the story. And it says, basically, if you open up your heart, you will realize that you already have all the love that you need. No other person can give you the love, the validation that you need. you can only give that to yourself. Going through different relationships over the years, right, I've learned that the things that I seeked the most out of some of those relationships, you know, like whether it was time together, like quality time, communication, blah, 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 right? I realized that I could give all of that to myself, and I don't need to put that on anybody else. I don't need to expect that from anybody else in a relationship. And I know some of you are thinking, yeah, but when you're in a relationship, they should be willing to give you the love that you deserve, which is 100% true. But I'm saying, even if something doesn't work out, if somebody doesn't fulfill what you are looking for, we'll always be able to give that to yourself. And unless you are okay with giving that to yourself, giving yourself all the love that you desire, then you know that your tolerance for other people coming into your life is, you know, very low. Like, you satisfy your own needs. So when somebody does come into the picture, it's not like they're gonna take anything away from you when they leave or if the relationship ends, because you already gave it to yourself. You're full on your own. You're whole on your own, rather than somebody coming in and trying to fill that emptiness for you or give you what you've been craving this whole time. You know that if they were to walk away, you're perfectly fine. And I think that's really where it resonated for me. And the last takeaway is on page 115, and it says, when you love yourself, your price is very high. So this means that your tolerance for self-abuse is very low. This ties into what I just talked about. But again, I have experience when it comes to relationships that I've encountered back in the day. I didn't know how to fill my own cup before I tried to fill others, which means I needed to take care of myself. I needed to love myself and give myself everything that I wanted and that I deserved, right? So if I knew consistent communication was something that I valued, if I knew that it was okay to spend time alone, I didn't always have to be with my partner, and I could focus on doing things outside of just my romantic relationship, then I would know, and I would have been able to see how toxic a lot of those relationships were. And I think that really needs to be emphasized, especially if you're young. You know, if you encounter love at a very young age and you're very inexperienced, you may not realize how much your partner reflects your tolerance for self-abuse, your tolerance for respect. All of that does reflect in your relationship. If you want a partner who's gonna match you, you gotta understand that you have to value yourself. You have to put yourself on a pedestal in terms of morals, values, what you truly care about. And if somebody cannot meet those standards that you have when it comes to a relationship, that's okay. Y'all just aren't a match, but it's worth recognizing and seeing that, hey, I'm not gonna bend, I'm not gonna compromise what truly matters to me, whether it's consistent communication, whether it's family time, you know, whatever you care about. If you really value yourself, you're not gonna let just anybody walk through your doors and disrespect you. I think it's really important to recognize what truly matters to you, and if somebody doesn't meet that, you gotta know when to just pull the plug, try to find somebody who's just a better match for you. And that's pretty much it, y'all. I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I just wanted to share some of these really great takeaways that I got from this book. If y'all have read this book, comment down below. I want to know your thoughts. If you're interested in reading it, comment down below. Or if you have any book recommendations, I would love to know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you haven't already, please make sure to check the description box down below. I'll go ahead and link related videos of mine that you may find helpful or informative. And please stay tuned. I post every single Monday.